Some stories feel like they were pulled straight from the darkest corners of fiction. Well, this is one of them. We're about to dive into a maritime mystery that is so chilling, so utterly bizarre, it still defies any real explanation decades later. It all starts with a desperate message from a ghost ship, and it ends with an explosion that literally erases all the evidence. So, picture this. It's February 1948, and this very message starts crackling over the radios of ships sailing through the Strait of Malacca. It began as a pretty standard SOS, a plea for help from a ship in trouble, but the frantic taps of Morse code that came next were anything but standard. The message started to get fragmented, desperate. This wasn't a warning that something bad was about to happen. The operator was describing a massacre that had already taken place. He was painting this scene of absolute horror, making it clear that the ship's command was gone, and the rest of the crew, well, they were likely gone too. And then this. After this final, absolutely chilling transmission, there was just silence. The voice from the SS Ourang Medan was gone, extinguished right in the middle of his message. Okay, to really wrap our heads around this mystery, we've got to go back to that exact moment. The moment that signal first broke the silence. Because what makes this whole story so unsettling is that it all happened on what should have been a perfectly normal, quiet day at sea. And as you can see right here, the setting itself offers zero clues. This all went down in February 1948, in the Strait of Malacca, one of the busiest shipping lanes in the entire world. The weather was clear, the seas were calm, there was absolutely no natural reason for a ship to be in any kind of distress. Now here's something that's really interesting. The medium. The message came through in Morse code. See, unlike a crackly voice message that can get all distorted by static, Morse code just cuts through the noise. It's a binary signal. It's either a dot, a dash, or silence. And what that means is that what was received was almost certainly exactly what was sent. This wasn't a mistake. So the really crucial point here is the terrifying escalation. Just look at the sequence. It starts with a standard distress call, then it confirms widespread death, and then, get this, the operator sends their exact location before announcing in real time his own death. This is the timeline of a complete catastrophe. Now, someone did hear that horrifying call. The nearest vessel was an American merchant ship called the Silver Star. Its crew immediately changed course and sped towards the last known coordinates of the Ourang Medan, getting ready for the absolute worst. The crew of the Silver Star, they must have been expecting to find a sinking ship, right? Or maybe the aftermath of a pirate attack. But what they actually found when they arrived was way, way stranger. When the Silver Star finally got there, the scene was just wrong. The Ourang Medan was floating perfectly with no visible damage at all. But, as you can see here, its smokestack was cold, and a deep, unnatural silence just hung over the vessel. They hailed it again and again, blasted their horns. Nothing. It was a true ghost ship. Since they couldn't make contact, the captain of the Silver Star made the only call he could. He sent a boarding party over to figure out what in the world happened to the crew and why that ship was so eerily silent. As the team climbed aboard, two things hit them right away. The crushing silence, and this unnatural, bitter cold, even though they were in the middle of a sweltering tropical heat. And on the bridge, they found the first bodies, the ship's officers, dead at their posts, their faces frozen in pure horror. And in the radio room, they found him, the man who'd sent the SOS. He was slumped over his equipment, his fingers still resting on the Morse code key, as if death had taken him in the very act of sending his final message. And this right here, this is where things go from just tragic to deeply, deeply strange. Everywhere the boarding party looked, they found more bodies. Every single crew member was dead. Their eyes were wide open, their faces were locked in these expressions of pure terror, arms outstretched like they were fending off some invisible attacker. Even the ship's dog was found frozen mid-snarl. And yet, not a single body had a mark or an injury on it. None. The rescue team, completely horrified by what they'd found, knew this was way beyond any normal maritime incident. Their only real option was to tow the ship to the nearest port for a full investigation. But the Ourang Medan, well, it had one last violent secret to reveal.
As they were getting ready to attach the tow lines, smoke started pouring from deep within a cargo hold. And within moments, a fire erupted and spread with impossible speed. The boarding party had to scramble for their lives, barely making it back to their own ship before a massive explosion just ripped the Ourang Medan apart, sending it and its dead crew to the bottom of the sea.
And just like that, the entire crime scene was gone. All the physical evidence vanished beneath the waves. The only thing left was the testimony of the horrified crew of the Silver Star, which kicked off decades of speculation, investigation, and some truly wild theories. So, the first problem for investigators was the ship itself. Skeptics, and they're right to point this out, say there's no official record of an SS Ourang Medan in any legitimate shipping registry. But, on the other hand, believers argue that in the chaotic years right after World War II, it was super common for ships involved in smuggling or covert stuff to operate completely off the books, using fake names to stay hidden. Okay, so the most logical theories really center on a deadly, improperly stored chemical cargo. I mean, look at this table. A chemical like potassium cyanide, if it gets exposed to seawater, creates this lethal gas that causes rapid suffocation. That lines up perfectly with the lack of injuries and those looks of terror on the crew's faces. Another really strong candidate is nitroglycerin. It's notoriously unstable and would absolutely explain the sudden fire and the huge explosion that destroyed the ship. But then, there's a far more sinister theory, one that suggests the ship was smuggling something else entirely: experimental weapons developed by Japan's infamous Unit 731. Now, this was a covert biological and chemical warfare unit that conducted some of the most horrific human experiments in history. And this theory, it kind of neatly ties together all the strange facts of the case, doesn't it? A top-secret mission to transport a deadly nerve agent would definitely require an unregistered ship to maintain secrecy. A leak of something like that could certainly cause the bizarre, terrifying deaths. And the explosion? Well, it could have been a deliberate failsafe to destroy all the evidence. And this is where the story goes from a strange maritime mystery to something with huge global implications. In 2003, the CIA declassified this letter from 1958. In it, an official speculates that the Ourang Medan incident isn't unique, but part of a larger pattern of unexplained disappearances. The fact that the CIA was not only aware of this ghost story, but thought it could be linked to other events, that just elevates this whole mystery to another level. So we are left with these absolutely haunting questions. What was in that cargo hold that could kill an entire crew with sheer terror and not leave a single mark? Was this just a tragic industrial accident? The deadly fallout of a secret military operation gone wrong? Or was it something else? Something we can't even begin to imagine. Ultimately, the Ourang Medan is just this chilling reminder that for all our technology, the ocean still holds some very deep secrets. Some stories, it seems, are just destined to be swallowed by the waves, leaving the rest of us to forever wonder what really happened out there in the silence.